Hello, I'm doing this video because most people don't understand marginal tax rates and how it works. They just think, oh, if I'm making $120,000, I'm going to get taxed 26%. If I'm making 100 or 200,000, I'm going to get taxed 29%. That's not how it works. So for the first $55,000 that you make, for those who already understand this, just skip. For the first $55,000 you make, you are taxed 15%. That comes to $8,380. Then, from the next amount of money, from 55,000 to 111,000, which represents 11,004, which represents $55,866. That's the next batch of money that is taxed at 20.5%, which is 11,452. So far we're up to 111,000. This scenario pretends we're making 120,000. So from 111,000 to 120,000, that represents roughly $8,267. They are taxed that $8,267 26%, which is $2,149. When you add this and this and this, that's the amount of taxes you pay. The total of those three boxes is 21,982. That means you pay 21,982 in federal taxes on 120,000. If I take this and divide it by that, that's the percentage that this is of that. That's 18.32%. Even people in the USA are paying as much as this. Marginal tax rates are one of the least understood concepts there is. We are not taxed that significantly compared that this is mostly pension plan and health care. Another 9% goes to provincial, just the way that in the US they have state tax. So this can be ignored in this argument. Our federal tax is insignificant compared to the benefits we get. Another thing that's not understood in Canada, prescription drugs. In the USA, they can charge $300 to $500 to $600 for a vial of insulin, even higher in some areas. So if you don't have a coverage, that's what you have to pay for insulin. There is the Prescription Medication Board of Canada, something like that, that fits under Health Canada. They restrict the max price that companies can charge in Canada to its citizens. It's based on an average price of 13 other countries. That means that we make sure that vial of insulin can only be sold for about, I think, 30 or 40 bucks. I don't know what it's at now. That is a significant difference and a significant savings to the citizens of Canada, and it's due to a restriction by our government that says, no, you cannot charge what the market demands. You have to charge a reasonable price because we consider health a vital part of survival. All prescription drugs have a max based on this. Whereas in the US, you have what's called a market-based system, which means if I can sell 1,000 pills at $10 and make $10,000, or I can just sell one pill for $10,001 and make $10,001, I, as a company, will always choose to manufacture one pill if I can make just as much or more on the one pill, because that one pill takes less ingredients, less labor, less time, less machinery, and it's just one pill that I have to sell. This is the free market system. It will somewhere between 1,000 and one pills will be what they base the price on. We saw that when that gentleman bought up the corner of the market on, I think it was HIV medicine, and started charging them like $1 million per pill. And this is probably because A, he could, and B, he probably hates gay people. Who knows his reasoning, but in Canada we have a restriction on that. The medical system is bar none far superior to the USA. I have a friend in Chicago. He has a good healthcare system. He still pays $750 deductible every time he goes to the hospital, and he gets to see the total bill. He had an MRI, X-ray, and something else, and the total bill would have come to $15,000. We do not experience this in Canada. You might say the wait times are long. Yes, right now we're going through some hellish periods with shortage of doctors, but it's not super fast in the US either. He's described having to wait 2-3 months to see a specialist as well. Do not believe propaganda. That does not exist. For capital gains, this is how it works. I do not know the exact percentages, but let's say you make $100,000 on the sale of a stock. 68% of that is taxable, which means $68,000 will be taxed. Now, let's say you are in that top marginal tax rate that I described before. Let's see, I'm just going to save this. Let's see what it was. Let's say you're in the 26% tax bracket, or even 29. I'll do both scenarios. Okay, we're going to come back. So if you're in the 26%, that means that 68,000 gets taxed at 26%. Let's say you're in the 29%, that 68,000 gets taxed at 29%. Both of those come out to this. So I'll do the 26%. I'll do 68,000. I'll put it in my memory, and I'll multiply it by 0.26. That represents 17,000 at this tax rate. And that represents this much at 29%. Both of those, when you take it over 100,000, come to a total tax rate of 17.6%, because 17,000 over 100,000, 17,680 over 100,000 is 17.68, or a tax rate of 19,072, 19.72%. Both those tax rates are nothing for capital gains. That's what capital gains used to be back in 2000. It used to be a flat 20%. So this is actually cheaper than the flat 20%, even if you're in that higher tax bracket.